Hi, my name is Christian. My parents own a small supermarket in Lagos, which has made me see firsthand in how POS charges can affect Nigerian businesses. With metal, these fees are reduced to as little as 20 naira, making it possible for these businesses to keep their profits. So this is a live demo that is hosted and I'll be logging in as Zenith Bank. So this is the API key that we've provided to Zenith Bank, which they can plug into any of our SDKs and then enables their customers to perform a transaction in Metal devices. I'm now signed in as a merchant and I'll be performing a transaction as a customer. So this application is already using the SDK and the API key that we provided to Zenith Bank, and then I'll be switching to airplane mode. Then I'll be performing a transaction of 5,000 naira. And we can see the payment has gone from Kristen, and we can also see it on the dashboard here. 5,000. What makes Metal special is its ability to transmit transactional data fast, secure, and offline. Because Metal is still a microcontroller, that means that it can exist within existing systems such as toll gates and fuel stations and trigger actions like fueling a car. And it's truly an end-to-end system. We provide everything from SDKs, APIs, control center, dashboard to make it possible for businesses and banks to complete transactions seamlessly.
Thank you, Metal. So that's Tim Christian, and we have our first question from Omoju.
Christian, I really like what you're doing, but I need some clarification. Who is the real customer? Is the customer the bank? Do I have to first go to Zenith Bank, have them connect the API key on their end, and then I can then start using it as a merchant? So that's the part that I'm slightly confused about. Can you clarify for me, please?
Oh, okay. So not necessarily, you won't have to go to Zenith Bank. Rather, the merchants will have to register with us. And that's why we'll be kind of like using the NIBS infrastructure. So with that, the merchants, all they need to do is once they acquire the device, they can register an account number with the device. So they never actually have to go to the bank. The bank's own is for normal people that use mobile banking. That's people that will usually come into a supermarket to buy something using their mobile phone. So those are the ones that would kind of like be related to the banks.
Okay, Julian.
So, I guess, at some point, right, the banks have to be involved because the bank is like the source of truth on the bank on the
Yes,
customer financial state, right?
yes,
So, like, so you're saying you're using NIBS infrastructure, that's NIP, right? Does that
yes.
happen? Does that happen like in the background, asynchronously after? Because what you've shown us is some offline tech, right? Tech that runs without connecting to the cloud to do the transaction. At what point
Yeah.
do you bring the banks in? Because the bank, yeah, that's my question.
Okay, so the first thing that actually happens is that the bank would register with us. The reason why the bank registers with us is so that we can establish a link between us and also NIBS, so that we can also provide them with an API, with the API keys they will need to use with our SDKs. So the bank has already registered with us, and then their customers can then their users can then be able to kind of like make to be able to communicate with Metal using the SD. So
Oh,
what
I see.
happens is so what happens is
Sure.
that yes. So what happens is okay. So what happens is that naturally the hardware device is the one that is connected, or rather the person's mobile phone, the person that wants to perform the in-person payment, their phones are not connected. They don't need to be connected to any mobile network because we use a radio protocol to handle the transmission between the person's phone and the Metal hardware. So the Metal now sends
transactional data to our cloud, which then communicates with NIBS. NIBS handles the processing, sends us back a response, and we display it on both the dashboard and the metal hardware device.
Okay, so one more question. So there is a hardware device that has to be installed at the merchant's location, right? That's the hub of the transaction.
Yes, that's
Okay.
how. Yes.
So now that you've given us this clarification, what is the business model? How are you charging? How are you making money? What's the bank's cut? And if you're doing all of this and you're settling at the bank's end and it's costing very little, why did you not think about going the crypto route? Because you're basically doing the same kind of thing.
Okay. The reason why we wanted to go to the route of using NIBS is because we want NIBS because NIBS is already going to grow. And because of we want to be able to use something that is within our own country. So we don't have to deal with the currency issues that also happen with MasterCard and Visa card being foreign companies. So we wanted to use something that is within our own country and something that the government is also focused on growing. And so how we do it is that we take a 6 naira fee, which is split between the customer, that's the person making the in-person payments, and the merchant. Because remember that in mobile transfers, the person that is receiving the money doesn't actually get deducted any fee. It comes from the person sending the money. Yes. So after that, then the bank will take its original cut, which is also split between the bank and NIBS, because naturally the banks are still using NIBS to handle these mobile transfers. Yes. So we're just providing that hardware device to make in-person payments as seamless as possible. They don't have to start typing in the account number, searching for the bank, all those things.
So we are out of time now, and we're going to be taking the break